Have you ever had that moment when you realized you had nothing left to lose? Not that dramatic movie feeling, but the real one, deep down, that tightens your chest and makes you see the world through completely different eyes. Because that's exactly what Eren Yeager carries with him the moment he declares war on the entire world. And what makes this scene so devastating isn't the scale of what he does, it's what he feels when he does it. Marley, the ceremony, the world's entire military elite gathered in one place, and Eren shows up alone, sitting in the middle of the crowd like just another anonymous face, but with a weight in his eyes that no soldier there could ever understand. When he transforms, it's not with rage, it's with a coldness that hurts more than any scream. If we fight, we win. That phrase sounds simple, right? Almost a war cliché. But when you understand what Eren carried to get there, the destroyed childhood, the dead friends, the truth about the world that shattered every illusion he had left, that phrase stops being motivation. It becomes a death sentence. Think about it. Since childhood, Eren was driven by hatred. He hated the Titans, hated the walls, hated the invisible prison that defined the limits of every person's life in paradise. But when he finally reaches the other side of those walls, what does he find? Not faceless monsters. He finds people, children, families, a girl named Gabi who believes the same lies he once believed, just from the opposite side. And that's where the story flips upside down. Because the enemy was never simple. It was never just Marley or the Eldians outside or the powers that controlled everything. The enemy was the cycle. It was the hatred passed down from generation to generation like a cursed inheritance. And Eren, instead of breaking that cycle, decides to push it to its absolute limit just to see where it ends. The declaration of war doesn't begin with a grand speech. It begins with Eren looking into Reiner's eyes, the man who destroyed his life, and saying he understands him, that the two of them are the same. That's the part that tears you apart, you know? Not the explosion, not the transformation. It's that moment of silence where two enemies recognize each other as mirrors. Eren doesn't declare war because he wants to be a hero. He declares war because he's reached the conclusion that the world won't change through kindness. And that cold, almost mathematical reasoning is what separates this character from any other anime protagonist you've ever seen. You follow his journey from the very beginning, you root for him, and then, in a moment like this, you realize you no longer know whether you should keep rooting. And that's exactly where Hajime Isayama grabs you by the throat. Because Attack on Titan was never about who the monster is. It was always about what turns a human being into one. And Eren, in that instant, doesn't become a Titan because of the power living inside his body. He becomes a Titan long before that, the moment he decides the ends justify any means. So, here's the question. If you were in his place, knowing everything he knows, would you have done anything differently?